Let me tell you what happened when I almost broke my own code. Law is the unspoken ruler that we all use as measurements, whether we consciously know it or not. And so when I first started this brand, I think it was 2020. That summer, graduation came. I started to make the clothes when it came in. It took like a month to come. If you know, when you make clothing, you gotta talk to manufacturers in China and all sorts of shit. Finally comes, I make the content, find a model, do what I have to do with her, get all of the promo going. It does $3,500. But at the same time that it does $3,500, I get offered a job to fly around the country to be a regional director of a company. Fork in the road. And this is where you have to have the structure put in place already. And this is why I push law onto you so much, because it's not this thing where I'm just speaking out of my ass and I haven't done this before. I was 22 years old that started a fitness brand and pushed the fitness because I was totally into fitness, but I also wanted a corporate job to be the higher of the ranks because that was the fucking shit that was programmed into me. I had quit soccer. I didn't know what the fuck to do. So what is it? Go get the highest possible job. And now you got this job that you've always wanted, because I thought I always wanted to be a fucking the exact job I had, a fucking sales director or a managerial position. It gets offered. I accept, thinking I'm going to take the money to put it into my brand. However, it's such a high corporate job that you're just working on the job nonstop, over and over and over and over and over. You start to lose vision, lose sight of what you were doing in the brand. The brand no longer is making money because you've taken all your time off of it and pushed it into the corporate area. You weren't leading by law. You had the mentalism of, yes, I like the brand, I want to push it, but your vision shifted to corporate because you were split at the fork in the road. So you see how the law, the highest ranking law, directs you in whatever direction you point it. If I had pointed it into the brand, this brand you would know it already. But at the time, I wanted the flashy thing, which was flying around. And while you get a shit ton of experience, it always makes you then think, if I had stayed on the focus, what it could have been. But again, this is a learning process, and you must understand your weaknesses as you go. That was one of mine. It's like you have these two phenomenal lanes to go down, but you pick the one that was programmed into you. And this is why you have to guard your mind with law and know that mentalism is the biggest law of your entire life. It's what brings your universe to life. Guard it with your life, because it literally depends. Your life depends on that first top ranking law. Wherever you focus your mind the most, that is what's going to proceed down in the ranks of the laws. And your reality is going to come out in a certain way. And you want to be able to predict that to some degree by putting your mind focused on the right thing that resonates with your heart and mind when they connect. And so that temptation of leaning into the corporate, while yes, it taught me something, it made me leave my brand. That was a weakness of mine back in the day, was always leaning on my brand. The temptation that I talk about, this shiny object syndrome, the shiny business syndrome, the shiny ideal syndrome. We all have these things that we want to create in life. We all want to go places. We all want to, maybe it's you want to build a brand. Maybe it's you want to do something that aligns with an ideal that you have in your mind. Do not be tempted when other things that are just as flashy pop up in your life. Be able to anchor yourself in a vision, because it will then show as one of your weaknesses when you leave ideas over and over and over. When if you had clung to one and understood it and followed through and made the laws line up, right? Have the vision, then correspondence is going to show you that that's your vision. You're then going to have the vibration, which is just action, to make sure that you hit the right frequency to bring and garnish the things that you need to keep going. Rhythm's going to keep showing you, okay, cool, you continue to pick this, so we're going to give you more. You avoid pendulum swings by staying in a neutral state as you're building your brand. Polarity needs to be installed inside of your brand so that you know who you're targeting and who you're not targeting. Cause and effect, you know what to push in your brand so that you get an effect that you would like. So you always know what's going on, what's being pushed in as input so that you get the correct output. Then you pick gender, and that happens everywhere because that's creation. So if you're a feminine brand, you're going to need some structure, that's the masculine, and you will have the creative flow through the feminine to create whatever you desire. You see how the laws line up, but do not fuck up mentalism because it is the biggest law. It is the top ranking law. Keep your vision aligned with yourself. Always ask yourself, am I doing the things that are in accordance with my vision? Or am I looking at temptation or a weakness to pivot? I've been victim of it, and I'm sure you have been too. And I would be wrong if I didn't push the blueprint, because all of this will be spoken inside of the blueprint. If you're ready to actually stick and understand your vision and follow through, hit the blueprint and link in the description and go get your blueprint, understand that, and start your journey into understanding how to create a structure in law. What you must do is reveal the battle, the internal battle that's going on, because we all have it. There's a voice that creeps up in your head when you see the shiny thing. There's a voice that creeps up in your head when something else that looks better than what you're doing pops up. Right? And so I'm in that fork in the road at 22 years old that had just made $3,500 off the internet. I'm raving, right? And I really made like $1,600, maybe a little over that because of the cost, the expenses that came with making the actual product. But understanding that, you're gaining the lessons you need down the entrepreneurship lane, the dropshipping lane, and the brand creation lane. But you have the voice in your head saying this is an opportunity that will fuel you along further. You'll get a higher understanding of how to run a business. You'll enjoy this much more. Little to say, when you find yourself in that fork in the road and a voice is pulling towards going to something that's opposite from what you've created or what you're doing, understand it, see where the opportunities, so the pros of that opportunity, but also then weigh the cons. And one of the biggest cons you're going to find or realize is that you're going to have to give up something to take on that opportunity. If the weight of giving up that thing, whatever that is for you, diminishes your ability to see your current vision, let it go. Let the opportunity pass. In layman terms, I was focused on my brand. I was making the content. I was making the money. I was all about gym. I had all about going to the gym and being in fitness. I had the workout routines. I had everything to coincide with this brand. Taking on that job was such a high responsibility that I had to let go of the vision of going all in on the brand. And while yes, during a long enough time span, you're going to always come back to the vision that coincides with who you are, the one that resonates with you the most, the one that your heart and mind can come together and say, yes, this is what we approve of, and I will have no regrets dying giving my all to my brand. Right? So when you get to that space is when you know it's a go. But if you let go of that and you go to the voice that sounds good, or that goes to the voice that tempts you, you're going to come into hardship because you've now gone against the very laws of your existence. Your existence are put together by the law, right? The laws that we speak about all the time. But your specific life, you have an assignment to do. Don't know what that is for you. You have to do a little bit of soul searching there. But I can tell you that if you don't follow that voice, the voice where your heart and mind come together in agreement, which is very rare if you don't have or strip yourself of the civilian lifestyle. But once you get into that coordinates, you have to then follow that no matter what. The hardship that comes is the purification we talk about all the time. So if you're young and you're at that crossroads right now, understand, hey, pick the one that resonates with you the most, regardless of how shiny the other thing looks. If the other thing takes away from that accordance, that resonating voice that's keeping you, that makes you feel whole, remove the opportunity. If you're a guy that has gone down the path of corporate and lost that voice, it is not too late to go right back to that fork in the road and choose the one that resonates with you. Just because you've gone down the wrong road and your life has come out to be what it is, but you are not fulfilled, does not mean you can't turn around. Law grants you a start over, but just know that you're going to go through some purification because now you must rid of the layers that you've built up going down the wrong road. right? Because I can always start this up again, like immediately. However, what you have to do, what I had to do was get rid of those external layers that pack onto you going up the wrong mountain. Now, again, like I've told y'all before, I've gone up the wrong mountain and hit the heights that you can hit. But then you realize, oh shit, this is not the resonating voice that's within me. Why am I going up this mountain? And so you have to turn around, right? Because you can't then go run for your alignment or your actual voice, your brand voice, or whatever you want, or that is resonating with your heart and mind. You can't start that at the top of a false mountain. The mountain must be brought down. You must lose all identity that attaches to that mountain to then be brought back up on the other mountain that you know feels correct. So if you've made the wrong decision already, that is okay. We're human. But be able to withstand the purification that comes with getting rid of false identities, going through a few ego deaths, having some real one-to-one conversation with yourself to understand what is it exactly that voice is telling you and where you need to be going. Because whatever you've adopted before is false, not correct, and you need to restart. And that is okay. Don't care what age you are. That is the falsified narrative that they tell you all the time. You're too far down the road. You have a family now. You have a house now. You have a great job. You're in a better position. Why would you start over? Your life is perfect. If that voice is not satisfied and you don't feel fulfilled, you are not perfect, and you are not even close to perfect even when you hear that voice. But it makes you have a sense of ease, a sense of control and power when you know you're sitting in alignment with yourself and you're not pretending because everything looks sweet on the external. No one can tell you what you feel on the inside. I can't tell you. I can just give you the structure. And this isn't to say like, hey, your life is shit. No, your life might be pretty decent. But is that voice fed? Because if it's not, your energy fields are weakening. And you have to know when you need to recharge yourself. A lot of you have lost your fire, not because your life is shit, but because that fire is not being fed the oxygen, which is just the resonating voice between your mind and heart to say, yes, this is the right place for me. You have to spark and understand, hey, and when you get little hints, hey, yo, don't go down there. You have to take heed, or else you're gonna have to track back a lot more. And you don't want to do that. And some people do that too late, quote unquote, where they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Their life is pretty much done. So they say, fuck it. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. But that's false. That's a false narrative. I'd rather see my grandfather come down from a fucking false mountain and show us that he can do that at 80. And then when he comes down, he can then give me the knowledge and wisdom to understand what a false mountain looks like. And that's where we get it fucked up, and why I tell you, you must lead with law to then teach your children in your bloodline the wisdom that you gain. And even if you gain it in your last years of life, it is still worth a lifetime of trouble if you can pass that on. And a lot of the older folk are just settling and allowing themselves to die in a lifestyle that doesn't fit them, and leading the younger generation to a slaughterhouse. Because at 80, when you realize you picked the wrong choice your entire life, and oh shit, that satisfaction of mind and heart coming together saying, yes, I am fulfilled, this is alignment, this is correct. You then will have children and teach that to their children, that being on the false mountain is okay. And that is not okay. So you must be in accordance with law. Your soul has an assignment that is governed by law, which is your existence. And it's going to come out at some point, and you either acknowledge it for what it is or you ignore it. Thank God I went through that job, and I quit that job maybe in a year, right? Came back and still had my brand in my pocket, and understood that, okay, this is clearly what resonates with me. However, it doesn't work within the civilian world because it goes against everything they push. However, that's my assignment. And you only understand your assignment by sometimes going up the wrong mountain, abandoning your voice, and then realizing this is the only thing that mattered. And then you come back and you realize, okay, cool, this is great. And some of you have to go up the false mountain a few times. Hey, it just is what it is. But that's why your purification takes so long. Like I said, I was in purification for 5 years? Because you have to go over and over and abandon your voice so many times that when you abandon it that last time, that you realize without a doubt that this is where I need to be. Go back to the voice, start over, and continue pushing it regardless whatever you come up against. That is the true nature of law. Law will allow you to slip, falsify your identity, attach to lust, attach to ego, attach to worldly things. And this is where I think religion gets the worldly thing. Don't be of the world, right? But be in it. That's where they get that from. Allow yourself to go experience so that you never regret holding on to this when you come back to it. And you can hold it 10 times tighter now, because now you fully understand what it is to live life without it. And a lot of you get confused in the detriment of coming down from a false hill because you've attached so strongly to an identity that's not you. So you no longer hear your voice anymore and you let the fire die. And that's where you then go and live the life unfulfilled. And when you get a little older, you don't feel good because, hey, I abandoned my voice. You have to get over that. Getting over that is paramount. Coming back to your resonating voice through heart and mind is what alleviates and frees you from the shackles. It takes away the pain. Life becomes 10 times more enjoyable. Anything can happen in your life when you choose to pick the resonating voice, because you understand that you're in alignment. And while, yes, you may not understand how to make money from it, you might not understand what it leads ahead, you might not understand the unknown, as you're not supposed to, you're allowing the voice and your soul to guide you in a crazy ass world that tells you to follow what's easiest, which is corporate lifestyle, 9 to 5, XYZ. Becoming a sovereign requires you to live in law all the time. So pick whatever you understand, where your heart and mind come together. And that in itself is a process. But once you get it good, you'll never forget it. And so once you get that, just hold on to it for dear life, no matter what comes up to you. A woman, a opportunity, a new lifestyle, a change in scenery. It doesn't matter. When that voice speaks to you, you listen and bow. And this is why I say, when men find that voice and live in law, you have no choice but to bow or run. Because you understand that they understand something you don't. And it'd be very wise for you to either take heed to what they say or get very far from them, because you'll never feel comfortable around them. So if you feel like you are one of those men who have law and understand it for what it is, but still need some direction, hit the link in the description, grab the blueprint. Let's start jumping into the brotherhood, and you'll be in my ecosystem where I will show you exactly how to live in structure within law and whatever path you desire to be in. However, understand that you will be making content as well, because this is a part of your law. Is not only feeling it and understanding it, but then being able to speak to it and push that out, because everyone needs to hear what law is, because you're living with it or without it. But unconsciously or consciously, it doesn't matter, because it governs your entire life. That's the story of how I almost broke my own code. Do with that information as you please. Implement it in your life where you find resonance. Consider yourself warned.